I'm now going to shoot through some do's and don'ts. Every connection you make, you need to make personalized. Don't use the standard LinkedIn connection requests. You know, they are trying to push you down to use a straight thing, but it can come across as just spam. It's not personal. People don't like it. So there's an example of a standard LinkedIn one. I'd like to add you to my professional network, Graham Hoppett. No, don't use that. Send out your own one. Personalize it. Because everything's about making that first content in a very professional fashion, and you don't want to end up in the LinkedIn jail, which is where someone marks your communication as spam because they say they don't know you, they've never heard of you. So always personalize your messages. And the other way around, when someone connects with you and you accept it, send them a personal message. I always look at the profile, so when I get someone wanting to connect with me, I look at their profile and I send them back a message related to their profile. I pull parts out from their profile and reflect it back to them. So don't ever get involved in spammy messages to your connections, and don't post self-serving content in groups. Give value in groups. Respond promptly to your messages. Don't criticize or provide negative comments. I mean, lots of this is common sense, but you see so many people doing it the wrong way. So the more professional you are, the better relationships you'll ultimately build. Keep it professional. This is not Facebook. This is not about talking about what you had for lunch or where you went yesterday. This is completely different from something like Facebook or Twitter, and keep it that way. Now, I don't know if there's any questions coming in, but here are some of the more common questions that I get asked, which I will answer. Do you need a paid membership? The answer is no and yes. It depends how far you want to take it. I personally don't have a paid membership at this stage because I don't believe I've exhausted the benefits of the free membership. So everything I'm doing, I'm personally doing with the free membership. And lots of the people I know are only using free memberships. If you're going to get the paid membership, then you need to make sure you're using it. So, as I said, it's a no and yes question. It depends how far you want to take it, and it depends exactly what you're trying to do in terms of the searching. What the paid premium accounts will give you, they will give you more flexible search results. So there are some benefits. It depends how far you need to take your search criteria. How much time do I need to spend on LinkedIn? Well, how long is a piece of string? You know, that's a personal question for you. It comes back to what are your outcomes, because you need to work backwards. How many connections do you want to make? How many sales do you need to make? How many connections do you need to make to get the number of sales you want to achieve for your business? So, you know, that's different for everyone. But what I gave you is just by making 5 connections a day, which can really only take you 5 or 10 minutes, you can start to build a network of 1,000 people, which has got to surely take your business forward. If I had limited time, where would I spend that time best within LinkedIn? That's easy to answer. There's 2 things I would do. One, I would be building my network by making connection requests. And 2, I would be active in the groups. Do I need a website to benefit from LinkedIn? The answer is no. You can very successfully just use LinkedIn as your website. But what that doesn't give you is it doesn't give you the ability to really have a separate database or control your database with regular messaging, where you're messaging everyone easily and effectively with information. So you do, in that sense, or you've definitely got some major benefit by having some off LinkedIn connections, such as an autoresponder, which I highly recommend. I mean, all businesses these days should have an autoresponder. Isn't LinkedIn just a social media fad? No. I mean, it's growing at 2 members a minute, a second, sorry. LinkedIn is here to stay. It's the most prolific platform out there, I believe. How many different social media platforms should I join and which ones? I think it comes back to how much time you have. You're better off doing 1 or 2 well rather than 5 or 6 poorly. I think personally the ones that I recommend are LinkedIn, obviously. I think YouTube and videos is a major player, but you know, I'm reading reports that people are successful in all different ones, so people can leverage their business through Pinterest and Instagram. You know, it's about focus though, so it comes back again to how much time you've got. So they are the prime questions I've had. I answered the question I had from Maggie, which was about search, and there was a question about prospecting, which I've given a couple of means of prospecting within this presentation. So I don't know if there's any general questions that people would like to ask.
Yeah, hi Graham, I've just come back on.
Hi.
Hi, I've actually got a question from Maggie, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute her so Maggie can actually ask you her question directly. So Maggie, are you there?
Hi Angie, I am.
Hello. Hi, do you want to ask Graham your question?
I think he answered it actually.
Okay.
Hi Graham. I think it was about should you unblock your connections, and I think you went through that and just in the privacy settings one. So it doesn't affect your searching then if people are searching on you with a...
No, I mean, obviously different people have got different views on whether your connections should be seen or shouldn't be seen. You know, there's an argument maybe not showing your competitors, but it's about how you want to use LinkedIn overall. So it's not one answer fits all. It's you really need to just take the time to go through the various settings and see what you think suits your particular business need.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And did the search answer make sense, Maggie, for your particular
completely.
question?
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant, Graham. Thank you. I've understood so much more. It's been brilliant.
Perfect.
That's lovely. Okay, thank you very much, Maggie.
Okay.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, has anyone else got a question for Graham? You can either pop the question in the question box and hit send, or alternatively you can just raise your hand by using the little button on the side of the dashboard. If you raise your hand, I then know you're there and you'd like to ask a question, and I can unmute you. So has anyone got any specific questions for Graham at this stage? Yep, I've got Sue raising her hand, so let's just unmute her and then Sue can ask her question. Hi, Sue. Hi, Sue. Are you there? Oh, Sue. Graham, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Oh, good. That's great. You haven't had another power cut then. Sue raised her hand, but I'm not sure if she's got her microphone switched on or not, because obviously we can't hear her. So, Sue, if you can raise your hand again when you've got your microphone on or something, then obviously I can unmute you again. Okay, right. A question, Graham, is brilliant stuff, by the way. Really, really interesting. I've made loads and loads of notes myself here. One question is, obviously this is fantastic for businesses, for business to business. What about if someone's actually employed? How can they sort of make the most and utilize LinkedIn? Because obviously it's not just for business, it can be for individuals.
Well, it depends what you mean. I mean, obviously I know what you mean by employed, but I mean, are they employed in terms of as looking their role just as a salesperson employed, or employed in terms of their own profile within LinkedIn for their career going forward?
Both, really. So someone's employed and they're a salesperson, so obviously how they could perhaps use LinkedIn to generate more sales. And someone...
Well, they would use it in the ways I suggested. They should be using it as a prospecting tool. So if they're a salesperson, you know, whether they're an employed salesperson or whether they're a business owner as a salesperson, LinkedIn provides a great prospecting tool for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I would suggest that any professional job seek, any professional should be on there, because it's a great way of raising your profile.
Absolutely.
For that next career move.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I haven't personally got experience within what I call the job market side of LinkedIn. That's not where my expertise is, but I've obviously read lots of reports about it, and people are definitely finding jobs as a consequence of being on LinkedIn,
yeah.
or they are being headhunted as a consequence of being on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I've mentioned that in the past, how important it is to sort of have a great profile, because it is a way of showcasing yourself and it's part of your personal branding.
Absolutely, absolutely, which comes back to my comment very early in the presentation where I said, I upset someone when I said their profile could be harming their professional reputation, because if you haven't got a complete LinkedIn profile and then someone uses LinkedIn as a way of doing, a third-party check on you,
yeah,
in a business sense, and you've got a poor profile, you're not going to look good. You're not going to stack up. It's about being congruent, isn't it? It's about, as you just said, your personal branding.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it is a tool for everyone, really. Not just for businesses. It's for individuals, and it's equally as important to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've also heard examples. Again, I'm only hearing this second-hand from various reports I read, but I mean, even lower-level staff, I've heard, are finding jobs as a consequence of LinkedIn. So they've used LinkedIn in that case as their CV. So even though they might not have a senior position, they've still used LinkedIn as their CV, and then they've been found on LinkedIn because they are, they've gone and put themselves on there properly, and it sort of skyrocketed their careers. So it's not even therefore about needing to be a professional in that sense if you're job seeking.
Yeah, and perhaps actually linking to companies you're interested in and connecting with them, and maybe just sort of, commenting on things there, writing things in there, you might get picked up by them. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about giving value, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, Sue's got her hand up again. Sue, are you there?
Yes.
Ah, brilliant.
Yes.
We can hear you now. So would you like to ask Graham your
Hello,
question?
Sue.
Hi, Graham. I'm sorry I was somewhat late tonight, and I missed a good deal of your super presentation. But you were talking about LinkedIn Jail. What exactly is this?
That's just my term saying, you don't want to. They're very strong on spam. They don't want people spamming each other. And
yeah,
if you were sending lots of connection requests out and they weren't being personal, and the person is being questioned who you're sending that to, if they answer it that, "Well, I don't know, Sue," then you could end up with a black mark against you. So it's about personalising your connection so people see you as a real person and want to connect with you.
So when you have a black mark against you, what happens?
You just don't want to get black marks against you. You've got to look at it from the positive. It's about just going about your networking in a professional sense rather than spamming people.
Yes, absolutely. But I mean, who gets to know that you have a black mark against you?
Well, you would. It's not like a public thing. It's if you went about your networking the wrong way, LinkedIn make it more difficult for you to network, because instead of connecting easily, they're then forcing you to know the person's email address, for instance, that you're connected with.
Yes. Yeah,
which
because
you
that
might not know
used
if
to
you
happen.
don't know them.
Yeah, that used to happen, and I thought they just relaxed.
I mean, things change regularly within these platforms, but that they do, they are out to stop any form of spam. So it's all. My comment was really just about doing things in the right route so you don't ever get caught out.
Yeah, right. Well, thanks very much for making that clear. That really helps.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Hello. Right. Has anyone else got any questions for Graham? If you have, just simply raise your hand and I can then get you on the call and we can make the most of Graham while he's here. Alternatively, you can just pop the question in the question box and hit send and we can pick up the question that way. So has anyone got any other questions? Right, there don't seem to be any hands going up, Graham, and I can't see any more questions coming in. So I think that is about it. It was interesting though, Graham, because while you were reconnecting up after that blip in your power, I was talking about copywriting and about how important headlines are when it comes to writing good copy, whether it's for a website or a letter you're doing or whatever. And one of the things I was saying, you know, was how to make them impactful and what have you. And that's exactly what you then started talking about. So that was quite good.
And that's also true about when you're communicating within the groups as well. You need to find reasons for people to look at your discussions. And obviously a powerful headline is one way of enticing people to look at what you've got to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it just goes to show the power of it to sort of make people read more and then want to connect with you.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that's brilliant. So thank you so much for that, Graham. That was really interesting. Some great tips there, some really great tips. And I'm sure everyone's got a much better feel now for LinkedIn and how important it is and how to utilize it and get the most out of it. So thank you so much for that. And I know it's really early for you. And I know you haven't been to bed yet.
5 a.m.
Oh dear. Well, maybe you can have a line.
Just as a closing comment, what I'd really say to people is, you know, they should now take the bones of what I've said and go and run with it, in the sense that as an action point, you should all go and review your profile and see if you can make your profile better than it is now. However good or bad it is, there's always a way to improve it. I'm always looking at mine and tweaking it and, you know, trying to take it to the next level. And obviously on the other areas where there wasn't time to elaborate, it's about hopefully taking a spark from that and thinking, look, this is a massive platform. I need to go and learn as much as I can about any particular area and go and do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for all of that. Some great advice there. And, you know, let's see what happens. And I'm looking forward to hearing people's results on the Facebook forum once they've had a chance to go in and have a look and let us know what they actually think about their profiles and how they're going to improve them. It'd be great.
Yeah.
So obviously if people want to connect with Graham after this call, the fact that he is part of our group is brilliant. So you can always ask him a question on Facebook as well. And I hope, you know, if they're very simple and short questions, I hope you don't mind Graham in answering them.
No worries.
Yep, brilliant. Thank you so much for that. So that's great. So I think that's it now with Graham. What I'll do now is I'll just quickly finish off just the headline section of copywriting, and then I think we'll just call it a day. So thank you very much for that, Graham, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Angie.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Right, guys, so let's crack on. I'm just going to answer. As I said, I just quickly went through a little bit of copywriting in terms of writing copy either for a letter or a website or LinkedIn, whatever it is. As I said, the three things that seem to grab people's attention when you're actually writing a good headline is putting a number in the headline, tell a secret. You know, if you're saying, I can give you the answer to this, then, you know, you're letting people into a secret. that will entice people in to read more and read more of your copy. And also, as I said, use emotion. Now, there is a subtle difference between pleasure and pain, as I said. For instance, some people might find learning to be a pleasure, whereas somebody else might think that learning is actually a pain. So there is a subtle difference between the two. So you've got to decide on how you want to approach it. The scarcity thing, if you've truly got a limited offer and you've truly got a time limit on something that you're doing, then tell people, you know, say this is only available for the next 24 hours, or there's only 10 more available at this price. Tell people so they can then, you know, read your copy and take action. So that's important. The other thing is make it plain and simple as well. I know I'm saying a grab attention headline, but sometimes being very simple can be just as effective. So for instance, 50% off all products, you know, something like that might be enough to entice people in. And certainly if somebody like Apple was to say that, I'm sure they would be inundated. So sometimes a simple headline is just as effective as a long drawn out headline. So, you know, and also motivate people to take action, because that's really important. You want to make sure that you tell people within your copy what the next stage is and what they need to do, because a lot of people, and I've seen it quite a few times with copy, they have brilliant copy, but there's nothing at the end. You know, what is the next step? So always make sure that you tell them what the next step is, whether it's to click this link or to ring this phone number, but you're giving them the next stage. You're telling them what to do next and to continue them along the process that you want to take them along. So that's really important, that you do have some sort of action in there at the end of your copy. And also in copy, what I find works really well is telling a story. People love stories. People like to know about people because they need to engage with you. So, for example, I went to a recent event where there were 12 different speakers. And I just went along to actually find out how they approached things, how they sold from stage, and what their sequence was. And it was interesting to see that all 12 of them started off by talking about, you know, the pleasure and the pain. So it's like, you know, I had this lifestyle, it was absolutely brilliant, I lost everything, and then I built myself back up again, and so now I'm an expert and I can show you exactly what to do. So it was really interesting to hear all their different stories. But what it did was it obviously helped them connect with the audience. And at the end of each of those presentations, they all made an offer. And you'd be surprised how many people were then running to the back of the room to actually buy their product or their services at the end. So a good story where somebody can engage it with you is a great way of connecting with people. Okay, so I think that is about it for this evening. Has anyone got any questions? Nope, nothing coming through. No, nothing's coming through. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions this evening, what I'll do is I'll probably call it a night. It's coming up to 9 o'clock now, and obviously it's 5 o'clock for poor Graham. So I hope he sleeps well tonight. Thank you very much, everyone. Really had a great time on the call this evening. And please pop your comments on what you thought of tonight and Graham into the forum. That'll be great. So until the next time, you all have a great month, and I look forward to connecting with you in December. So take care, everyone, and speak to you soon. Bye.